Good evening. Welcome. Would you all please note that we have quorum? Ms. Robles is present, Ms. Solis, myself, and Dr. Graham. Judge Haggerty, Mr. Uxer, and Ms. Nahida are not present. Dr. Penley, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Penley. You did return the mic to normal height? Item 1.4, approval of minutes, there are none. Item 1.5, welcome guests. 1.6, open forum. We have a handful of people who have signed up under open forum. These are in no order. Melanie Carrillo? Is there Melanie Carrillo? Oh, there, oh, yes, please, come on up. Did you signed up for open forum? Okay.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
I'm here representing the El Paso Community Colleges Comic Book Club, also known as the PCX. Yes, I know, we have one.
That's great.
And I'm here in regards of the time limit for our traveling and due to like buses and vans for the 6-hour limitations. Right now, we're actually planning a trip to go to Las Vegas so that we can enter a Comic-Con. And so the travel expenses that cost us for a flight is nearly close to $3,000. And that's just in Southwestern alone. And so we've been struggling to come up with the money, and where this goes, we're just a couple hundred short. But it's really difficult for us to go driving, because not only would it benefit us if we did take a van rather than flying, not only would it financially help us, but at the same time, the price differences is really worth the travel. And I think it's best if we did exceeded the time limit to how long the travel is when it comes to the vans, and it'll really help us out a lot. And also speaking for all the clubs here as well, everyone pretty much does traveling all the time. I mean, like, would you rather drive to California, or would you actually take like a couple $1,000 flight to California? That's the question, really.
I would take the Allegiant flights. 39 bucks.
Yeah, well, again, it'll really help us out financially if we did drive to our locations rather than to actually take a flight. So thank you for your time and
Thank you, Ms.
hearing
Carrillo.
me out.
Victoria Aguilar? Ms. Aguilar? Oh, there she is. Good evening, welcome.
Hello. I'm in All About Anime Club, and we are, like, the policy for the travel, the 9-hour thing, it's really hard because, like, if we want to go to conventions and stuff, like the Las Vegas one, it's much cheaper by going by bus. It's about, like, half the cost than taking a plane. And, like, that's not even including, like, if we need to pay for the hotel or when we need to eat there or to enter into the event. And it's, like, a real restriction. And I see that if we go by here, we have to take the school vehicle, and those aren't really that big, and it would be like hard to fit everyone in the club and get them to go. Like there's a lot of things here that restrict us to want to take our whole group. And then let's see. And then it says the driver must be like a representative of the group, and it can only be one driver, I think. And it would be easier if we were allowed to have multiple drivers, so that way if that one driver gets tired, they can switch out with another full-time employee, so that way we don't have to like stop in different places, and then that's another expense because we have to pay for the hotel we stay for there for when we're going to another place. Like it's much cheaper if we just can go in one shot in a bus instead of we have to stop because the bus driver needs to take a break instead of us being able to switch out drivers. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Ms. Aguilar. Okay, I'm going to ask for your forgiveness from this point. Ms. Magañez? Was I close? Yeah, good. I guess not. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. I'm here also about the travel policy. I'm representing All About Anime. And I'm here to talk about the travel policy. While on the bus, it will cost cheaper, and there's so much we can fundraise. We've tried a lot, and there's really so much. So looking at airplanes travel cost, it will cost about $8,000 since we are a club about 40 people in them. So there's so little people we could take, and we can't take all of them. So while we do get in the bus, it will cost less and we could take more. And as for the policy of the 6-hour trip, it says that you have to be a full-time college employee to drive. I believe it'd be better if they could switch. So instead of being 6 hours, I would really appreciate if we could extend it to at least 12 hours. That way the full-time employee could drive, and while the advisor can switch off and drive to extend the time. Because there's so much where we can go, such as we're planning to go to San Antonio, and there's not enough time where we can go, and it's so much cost. So I believe if you extend the time more so the advisor and the full-time employee would switch, it would be better for other clubs to expand their trips. And that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I believe Miguel Falcon. Good evening, welcome.
Thank you. I'm from All About Anime Club. I'm here to talk about the travel policy. I think 6 hours is a limited time, and it's expensive to just go on a plane. It's better to be on a bus because without counting all the expenses that we will have to have, such as hotels and food and drinks and all of that stuff, maybe a 12-hour limit could be better, since we have so many events here in the U.S. that aren't in the time limit. I think that would be the best to make it at least 12 hours long. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gabriel Mendoza. Good evening, Mr. Mendoza.
Good evening. My name is Gabriel Mendoza. I'm a tenure track faculty at Rio Grande campus, and I am the advisor, co-advisor, and founder of the EPC STEM Future Club. We created the club almost 10 years ago with the main goal of exposing our students to internships, scholarships, employment, and cultural opportunities. We have had the opportunity. Thank you. We've had the opportunity to attend several national conferences, such as the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, Great Minds in STEM, MIAS, and other national conferences. Prior to this rule, we had the opportunity, we travel everywhere by driving. I can say that I drove those vans, and I'm guilty for putting the most miles in those vans. Okay? We have traveled to Orlando twice, to New Orleans, to Denver, Colorado, California, everywhere in LA, San Diego, in order to expose our students to national labs like NREL, like NOAA, in order for them to get internships and employment. So that's basically what the main club has been doing. The reason that we did that is just to also create STEM activities. Some of the people that have participated here, like NASA Space Science Day, and for example, our National Department of Energy National Science Bowl that we've hosted for almost 11 years here in El Paso. And I'm very grateful for all the principals that have participated with us from the early college high schools. So those are the goals that we're trying to, that we as a club have been trying to bring to our community. And in our case, driving with our either rented van or school vans really helped us curb the cost. For example, this summer, the STEM Club is going to have the opportunity to take our students to Europe. We will be traveling driving from El Paso to Albuquerque, which is less than 6 hours. Then from Albuquerque, we'll be flying to New York. From New York, we'll be flying to London, London to Stuttgart to Munich, and Munich to Salzburg, Vienna, Paris, London, back to Dublin, back to New York, back to Albuquerque, and back to El Paso. And the reason that we're going over there is because our students want to visit BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, and other universities that they can possibly attend. So that's basically what we're looking, and that's what we're trying to provide to our students. And it would really be helpful if we could actually have 2 faculty or 2 advisors drive with the 6-hour change. So and that's what I'm here for.
Thank you, Mr. Mendoza.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Swanson? Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the board. I mentioned last board meeting, I'm not the smartest, so please bear with me on your procedures. I'm going to hit upon some things that they've hit on, and I want to bring up a point. So for 10 years, this gentleman with the STEM program has been driving all over. There's been no accidents. There's been no incidents. Has there been any tickets? Not even a speeding ticket. 10 years that we know of. I'm looking at this policy, and the policy adopted 2002 and approved 2004. So since 2004, this has been in effect. But now, the last couple of months, it's become an issue. There hasn't been anything to cause. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. All I'm asking is to hit on what others have hit on. It says in here that you can go no further than 6 hours. Gotcha. With 1 driver. If we had 2 drivers, 12 hours. If we had 3 full-time employees, or that first driver could take a rest of the 6 hours while the other driver's driving, 18 hours. Nothing wrong with taking an hour break in between, 2-hour mandatory break. It's up to you as the board to dictate those rules, but we're asking, would you at least think about changing 6 hours, that's it, to something further, something longer, with more drivers, breaks in between, you know. So that's one of the key points. The other point, nowhere in here does it say that the advisors through the Student Leadership and Campus Life Office can rent a rental vehicle, because it would help out if we could go down to Ryder, Avis, Hertz, and rent a 10, 12-person PAX van and be able to drive out. So that would help us versus using one of the vans that the EPCC has, is that takes it away from their use, and it's just harder to get a college-owned vehicle versus a rented one. And that's not covered anywhere in here about rental of a vehicle. So the key points again, longer than 6 hours, preferably 12, possibly 18 with breaks mandatory in between. Multiple drivers. Nowhere in here does it say in the 6 hours that it has to be more than one driver. So one driver 6, 2 drivers 12. There hasn't been anything that's gone on in at least 10 years, at least driving to events. And other members of the Automotive Society are here. Does anybody wish to speak? Anything I didn't bring?
How's it going? My name is Glenn. Sorry about my voice. I kind of lost it a few days ago. I'm the president of the Automotive Society. And I have a real good question. What do you guys usually use to service your vehicles?
I have no idea.
Right. So, I mean, it's touching up back on what he's doing. Whoever's servicing them, they're doing it right. There's failed to be a single problem so far. And, I mean, right now, for us flying, we're actually thinking about taking the whole club. But it's going to cost us $6,800 for the amount of members we have. Now, with one faculty advisor, 4 students flying, it's $4,800. Us driving itself cuts that cost in half. I mean, it's tenfold. Usually, I only ask that about servicing because usually, well, both of us are a prior service, and usually before we go out on mission, we PMCS our vehicles, make sure everything's running properly. So, one, it's out of random, but congratulate them because they're doing good. 2, if we have more than one faculty advisor, just like he said, it'll actually help us out. It's better having. It's better to, what is it, 2 heads are better than one, should I say. Even if one faculty advisor is driving, the other ones make sure everybody else is doing what they need to do. I mean, if they're by themselves, I mean, it's still quite a lot to look after. I mean, we're all adults. So, I mean, it shouldn't take that much.
Thank you very much. I'll ask you to sign up. Excuse me. If you wouldn't mind signing one of these forms just on the front desk for speaking in the open forum.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had them added under me for society, I thought.
It says Paul Swanson,
Auto
Auto Society from EPCC. There's no other names.
I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wanda Camacho. Good evening, Ms. Camacho.
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm here representing the Architecture Society, and for our use in limitation of the 6 hours, if they're traveling by vehicle, by college vehicle, we would only be able to go as far as Las Cruces or Albuquerque, which is everybody has already mentioned about the distance. Next closest location that we would like to go to would be Dallas. That's a 9.5 to 10 hour drive. The distance cuts into the amount of time that we would be able to attend different events in the area. I mean, it allows us the opportunity to go to see the different events in the area. If we're driving ourselves, then because not only if we're flying over to a location, then you have to worry about how do you get around to the different sites that you would like to see. For those of us that are architect students, we would look at different museums, we would look at different structures within the city itself, so that definitely if we had the college vehicle, we would be able to do more so. But something else that field trips are meant to do, they're meant to expand the education of the students within the college itself. And if you limit the amount of distance that can be taken, then you're limiting the amount of exposure that students have. So by traveling by vehicle and for the longer time frames, you allow that expansion to happen.
Good. Thank you very much. And Andrew Arteaga? Arteaga? Sorry, Andrew. Pronounce your name for me, Andrew, please.
Arteaga.
Arteaga. Thank you.
I'm here to discuss about the 6-hour driving limit. I find that one of the biggest issues for students of any club is the limited planning that can occur when wanting to take a trip to a given destination. During last semester, my club and organization, the Art Student Society, originally had some plans made to attend to different art venues over in California, yet those plans had to be scrapped given the 6-hour limitation and a struggle of finding ideas of what we would do to create the funds. I find that it's not hard to really build the funds to travel by air, but it would put a little bit of ease if there was the alternative to at least venture out a little farther by means of driving than flying. I'm not really sure what else to add on to the topic other than what everyone else has already stated before me, other than I would like to at least see some extension of the 6-hour limit by some means that's suitable in terms of travel within the states at the very least.
Thank you very much. Dr. Saranta, there's been some good points brought up. I do understand how there's two sides, and one side is sitting over there, our legal counsel. So could you please get with legal counsel, discuss the policy, what the legal liabilities would be for the college, and then maybe you can report to us in the next meeting or so?
Certainly, Chair. We'll move forward with that.
Okay, item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association.
Good evening. Hello. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. Greetings, President Fierro, Board of Trustees, Dr. Serrata, and attendees. I'm the president of Professional Staff Association. Since our last presentation, PSA has had an opportunity to get involved in several events. We would like to update you about that today. Our officers had an opportunity to meet with HR Human Resource Executive Director, Dr. Peña, regarding some of our membership's concerns. We appreciate the information provided and the consideration for the points of concerns that we addressed with him at that time. We would like to continue our meetings with him on a regular basis. Thank you, Dr. Peña, for your attention, and we look forward to meeting with you. We would like to take this opportunity to also thank Dr. Serrata for his continued support for the college's employee salary enhancement, as well as the rewarding events like the town hall meetings. We look forward to this year's consideration of a 3% increase, and we are sincerely grateful for your efforts and his efforts on getting the 3% increase. Professional Staff Association will be conducting a Mother's Day craft fair at ASC Building B on May 3rd, Thursday, from 8 to 4. The public is invited. PSA Vice President Grace Erives, Mari Reyes, and Marta Arvizo have been very instrumental in getting this function organized. We plan to continue the Student Scholarship Awards for this upcoming fall. We will be issuing 6 scholarships. An email of the process will be sent through the financial aid module. We want to thank Mary Chavez, for our chairperson, for our educational assistant, who is planning on raising funds for this scholarship. Thank you for your attention. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. So many months ago, the question was asked of my association concerning how we were investing and what was the return on that investment of funds that were being spent on various aspects of faculty. And in response to that, we've been kind of on this journey of occasionally presenting on different types and classifications of faculty and how your investment impacts student success. And tonight I'd like to share about counseling faculty, a group of faculty that I think are very frequently kind of invisible. And one of the things that I've really taken to heart as I have been a faculty member at EPCC is that there is a great difference between simply earning a degree and actually having an education. And when it comes to assuring that our students have an education, it is counseling faculty that have the heaviest lift. And the reason for this is it is counseling who remain with students from the moment that they enter the institution until the time that they graduate. And during that time, it is their job to help our students understand not only how to pick a program, and not only which classes to register and how, but how to turn those classes and those experiences and how to leverage resources within the institution into something that can transform them into powerful and empowered people who can then move forth, pursue additional education, or out into the workforce. And part of that is choosing a program. That is a deceptively simple statement. We have, as I'm sure everyone is aware, over 130 different programs, degrees, and certificates that a student can choose from. We also have tens of thousands of students who are attempting to navigate that choice. And it is on our counselors to sit with each student one at a time, not as a class, not as a cohort, but as an individual, and help them understand the options that are in front of them and what would be a choice that they as a human being want to make. If the student chooses to try and navigate that decision or change their mind, it is counseling who helps them. If a student is having issues in a class but isn't sure how to approach another faculty member, it is counseling who empowers them. And most importantly, on that journey, if the student encounters challenges, it is counseling who steps in and becomes our retention effort. If a student walks up to me, as many have, from any number of different crisis situations that I've encountered, I've had students who go homeless. I've had students that have fights with their parents and their parents want them to drop out. I've had students that lost boyfriends and girlfriends and that made them sad. But more than that, I've had students come to me and say, I really don't know if I can handle the stress. I feel that I may be suffering from depression. I think I may have other issues that require a deeper conversation. Or even as I was having conversations with counseling to prepare for tonight, they talk about the challenges of having to have a student come into their office and express that they are truly suicidal. Our counseling faculty hear the range of challenges that our students face. And it is then their job to help the student understand what are the resources within the institution that they can lean upon, but also what other resources are available out in the community so that we can make sure that not only the student is supported, but that the student's support system is supported while the student is continuing to be retained within the institution. I can truly say that my role of faculty member is not possible without having a strong, tenured counseling presence. They do far more than just helping our students choose a course or even a program of study. They are vital to helping our students become empowered in their education, not just receiving a degree, but becoming an educated person. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you again for giving us this platform to speak to you all. Good evening, President, members of the board. Thank you for giving us this forum to speak. We actually have a new member with us today. Her name is Isa Carrillo.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm a senator for student government, Commission of Pass.
She was really excited to do that. So, first and foremost, I would like to say thank you to all the clubs that came out today to speak on behalf of the travel policy. I'm so proud of you all. We didn't tell them to do that, by the way.
You're supposed to be honest when you speak.
So I'm really proud of you all for taking the initiative to come here and talk about the things that matter to you all, because I know that we often, we can't always address the issues that matter to you all directly, so thank you for coming. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the things that student government has done over the last month. Those things are, so we were invited to the city resolution and the county proclamation. Those were really great experiences. Thank you for inviting us, to letting us be there and always be representative of the students. Another thing that we were invited to was a groundbreaking. Personally, I'm very grateful for extending that speaking opportunity to us, as student government. We are really excited about 2 events that are coming up this week on Friday. One being the Creative Kitty Corner, where students, faculty, staff can bring their kids, their grandkids, their nieces and nephews to the Valle Verde campus, where they will meet all of the clubs that we have here at the college, and the kids will get some entertainment, and they will also get to participate in some really cool activities. I know student government were doing slime with the kids. It's a hit from other events that we've had. I know that I love to make slime, and it's really fun. So I encourage you all to bring your kids, grandkids, nephews, nieces. I'm sure that they will have a really great time, and it also kind of helps us start creating a college-going culture. You know, they come here, we tell them this is what we do, this is what our club does, and we also get to talk to the parent in order to kind of get them more engaged in the different activities that could be offered here at the college. And the other event that we're really excited about is the initiative that was brought forth by Dr. Gonzalez, the Lights at EPCC. So it will be taking place, this Saturday, and I hope to see you all there. We've worked really hard as a committee to put the event together, so I hope to see many of your faces there. It's gonna be a great event. Another thing, we had the Students Forum in Keeping Our Campuses Safe, Part 2, this last week. It was a really successful event. There wasn't as much of a crowd, but the topics that were discussed were really important. I know Dr. Graham was there. We had professionals from the different fields, such as mental health, health in general, the police department from EPISD, and we talked about the different resources that are offered at the high schools and at the hospitals for students and for the community altogether. It was a really great event, and I would really encourage you all to continue to have events addressing the hard topics and having hard conversations. I know it's uncomfortable, but it is really important for us as a community to be addressing these issues, such as mental health, as Ms. Rebecca Bell mentioned. I just love when she comes up here and speaks. It kind of gives me a little bit of courage to come up here and speak. Everything that comes out of her mouth is gold. So, yes, I want to grow up to be like you. We came back for the Texas Junior College Student Government Association, the state convention. I am really proud of student government and how they worked, and the level of professionality and the way that they carried themselves. We almost received the most professional award from the state, but we didn't for a conflict of interest since I was a host representative. But just rest assured that student government goes out there and represents this institution well, and I'm really proud of them. And we had the Teal and Purple Day, that same day that we left to state. And I would venture to say that it was a really great event. I was not in attendance because I was at state, but we had a lot of students, a lot of participation, and it seems that students liked the activities that we offered that day. So that's a really great opportunity for us to brand the college colors and the mascot. And we had elections last month. Elections went well. We did have a few glitches So we had to have elections part 2. It was something that I don't believe we've done before, but the write-ins didn't. There was a glitch in IT that didn't allow for the write-ins for the information to pop up. So we did that last week. They went really well. So at this time, I just want to reiterate a few of the points that the clubs hit and during their presentations. It is really hard fundraising as a club. Student government doesn't have that issue because we get our funds through the institution, but it is incredibly hard as a club member to come up with fundraising ideas and to come up with people that will work the fundraisers and to actually get people to buy the stuff that you're selling in order to raise funds. I know as a club member, I've faced that same burden, and we need to keep that into consideration when we make these policies in regards to travel. We are limiting, like Wanda said from the Architecture Society, we're limiting students' exposure and students' experiences because there is a whole world outside the 6-hour drive. It is more cost effective for students to drive, for the clubs to drive, for their advisors to drive them, rather than to pay for a flight, as we have all taken flights, and it's not something easy for clubs to do, especially when they want to expose all of their club members to things outside of El Paso, outside of the 6 hours. All About Anime said they have 40 members, and it is not feasible for them to take all 40 of their members to an activity outside of the 6 hours if they're forced to fly. So I would really like to encourage you all and the legal team to take these words into consideration and reconsider the 6-hour part of the policy. And last but not least, like I did mention earlier, we did have elections, and my term is coming to an end. So at this time, I would like to end this report and introduce you to your new student government president-elect, Brian Mena.
Congratulations.
No pressure for Brian.
Hello. Good afternoon, board members, executive officers, and college president. My name is Brian Mena, and I'm proud to have been elected by my peers to represent the student body for the 2018-2019 academic school year. So as student government president, it'll be my duty to make sure that the needs of the students is heard by faculty and administration. My duty as student government president will be to make sure that students do have a seat at the table when it comes to decision making. My role as student president will be to make sure that I bridge the gap between students and administration. And so I'm looking forward to a year of cooperating. I'm looking forward to a year of respect. And so, one thing, I don't want to be seen as a kid you have to deal with. I want to be seen as an adult you're going to work with. And so I'm positive that we can all work together to improve our wonderful college on the basis of cooperation and respect. And so I'll leave you with this quote by U.S. former President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Though force can protect an emergency, only justice, fairness, consideration, and cooperation can finally lead men to the dawn of eternal peace. Thank you.
Lee, congratulations. You have some big shoes to fill.
Yes, of course.
Can you please give us the times for the kitty corner and the lights at EPCC?
So the kitty corner is taking place on April 28th at 10 a.m. The lights at EPCC, it's taking place on Saturday, shortly thereafter, so that evening on Saturday. And so again, I'm looking forward to working with all of you to improve our college. I'm sure we all have the same goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
It starts at 6. The lights.
you.
Item 1.8, communications, none. Item 1.9.
I have something under 1.9, please. Under Board of Trustees business, Dr. Graham, I'll turn it over to you.
So what I'd like to do today is to share with the board an idea that, for your consideration and perhaps an approval by the next board meeting. And this will be a proclamation that we initiate in El Paso Community College a retirees association. So the proclamation that I have sent your way reads, whereas CPCC recognizes the selfless years of commitment and service performed by its retired employees, and whereas retirees are a source of pride, given their dedication to the advancement of countless students, and whereas CPCC retirees contributed significantly to the current success of the college during their employment, and whereas retirees continue to be a valuable support to EPCC and contributing force in El Paso community, and whereas many retirees continue enjoying productive years and would enjoy being involved in the EPCC family, and whereas the college welcomes the opportunity to promote togetherness and fellowship among retirees, and therefore we, Dr. William Serrata, President of the College and the Board of Trustees of El Paso Community College, proclaim the formation of an EPCC Retirees Association for your consideration to be signed by the next board meeting. Mr. Fierro, I have also provided a brief draft description to the President of what that would look like for his consideration and tweaking. But I think that this is something that's long overdue, and I would like the board's approval, hopefully next month, to move it forward.
Thank you very much, Dr. Graham. What a great idea. Dr. Sonata, would you please look and make notes and comments on the synopsis that Dr. Graham has put together? And could you please make sure it's on the board agenda for next month?
Yes, sir.
Thank you again, Dr. Graham.
Thank you,
sir.
Dr. Graham.
Thank you, Dr. Graham.
Item 1.10, board reports. 1.10.1, treasurer's report. March 31st, 2018. No action is necessary. Item 1.10.2, president's report. Item 1.10.2.1. Dr. Serrata will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college.
Chair Fierro, members of the board, first and foremost, let me thank both Sandy and Juanita for filling in. We thank you so much. As you know, Pam is well on her way to recovery, but in the interim, we can't thank you enough, Ms. Honesty, for your assistance with this, and all the vice presidents have been great, as well as the other members in our office. So thank you all so much. April is Community College Month. As you know, community colleges, including El Paso Community College, are putting students on the pathway to higher education for nearly 70% of our population. EPCC continues to be an innovator that drives student success and economic growth for our city and region. We offer quality education taught by highly credentialed faculty. You've heard some of them this evening, and the greatest cost value. We're the cornerstone to achieving the goals of 60 by 30 Texas as well as 60 by 30 El Paso. This month, we have celebrated our impact and success through many activities. On the 4th of April, EPCC kicked off its awareness campaign to students and staff at EPCC Pride Day at the Valle Verde campus. This was a fun event with food, festivities, and information. It also marked the start of EPCC's On Wednesdays We Wear Teal and Purple campaign started by marketing and SGA. Kudos to Ismael de la Rosa for coordinating this event along with the marketing team. Other activities that took place commemorate Community College Month included town halls where I spoke at every campus to highlight the accomplishments of our college, our students, and our faculty and staff. We also had proclamations presented at our city and county. This month, we also recognized years of service for our employees reaching milestones in their years of service. Additionally, we have been sharing our story with the community via interviews and segments on our local media. Thank you, Dr. Graham and Mrs. Robles, for being interviewed as part of this media blitz, which showcased highlights about EPCC and encouraged the community to get involved at our campuses. The Jenna Welsh and Laura Bush Community Library was approved to receive a book grant for 1,998 new books from the New Molina Foundation 2018 Teens Read campaign. EPCC will now join in the campaign to help teens and young adults connect with the world through stories. Mr. Mark Spiker, I hope I pronounced it right, I apologize if I did not. The Molina Foundation Inventory Coordinator thanked Ms. Laura Lee Ambris, Northwest Campus Head Librarian, for her work in serving the teens and young adults and for being such outstanding partners. Congratulations to Laura Lee Ambris, the Northwest Library staff, Dr. Lydia Tena, our campus dean, and Dr. Julie Penley, our AVP for Instruction and Student Success, for receiving the book grant. I'm happy to report that we had 2 more successful accreditation site visits this past week. Both the Emergency Medical Technology Program and the Pharmacy Technology Program underwent successful site visits with no recommendations. The Pharmacy Tech visiting team stated that this was the cleanest site visit they've ever done. Congratulations to all the faculty from both programs. Special thanks and appreciation to Mr. Tony Ayub, the EMT Program Coordinator, Dr. Nader Rasai, Pharmacy Tech Program Coordinator, and Dr. Paula Mitchell for the great work. EPCC, in partnership with Socorro Independent School District and UTEP, is paving the way for more students to reach their higher education goals. Throughout April, EPCC's recruitment team, faculty, and other staff visited every single high school in SISD through the Operation College Bound initiative. This partnership allows seniors in high school the ease and convenience to enroll in college and see that higher education is within reach. They were at America's High School today. Dr. Graham, I saw the signs this morning as I drove past America High School. Thank you to Vice President Dr. Kenneth Gonzalez and his entire team and everyone who's helped with this important effort. Dr. Iron and the IT team, instruction, finance, everyone has been involved. To date, more than 300 students have been registered on the spot at those respective events. On April the 11th, we had the groundbreaking for our Valle Verde Academic and the Valle Verde Transportation Center building. Thank you to everyone who attended, along with the team from Instructional Media Services, Facilities, Physical Plant, our campus dean's office, the STS, Marketing, Culinary Arts, and other who partnered to make this event a success. I'm trying to see if our student, there she is. Before you leave, we want to recognize El Paso Community College student and SGA President Andrea Porras. Andres Portillo is one of only 47 students nationwide selected for the Jack Kent Cook Foundation Undergraduate Transfer Scholarship. It is the most prestigious transfer scholarship, and it is highly competitive, obviously. I know that Ms. Porras, with her $40,000 annually, will transfer to university and complete her bachelor's degree. I know she's weighing her options right now. We look forward to that. This is another example of why EPCC is the best place to start and finish. I'd also like to call out Mr. Brian Kirby, who has been instrumental in Ms. Porras receiving that and helping in the preparation of all the documents that go into that. This is Mr. Kirby's second Jack Kent Cook recipient. He says he's going for the trifecta. So it's amazing what our faculty can do with them. He's not here, but I want to acknowledge him in front of the board as well. EPCC has good work to share, and each trustee has a copy of the annual report that summarizes EPCC's work during the past academic year. Kudos to Laura Lee Ambris for her work on the important project, along with external relations, Ms. Carrie Moe and the rest of the team that did a great job on this. I'm very thankful. This is something we've been working on for quite some time, so it's great to see it. Each board member has that. The National Junior College Athletic Association, NGCAA, announced that EPCC won a competitive bid to host the men's and women's half marathon championships in 2019, which will also be our 50th anniversary, and in 2021. No pressure, Coach, but we know you'll win. We are honored to be selected to welcome athletes to our city and show them some El Paso and EPCC hospitality. Congratulations to Athletic Director Felix Hinojosa for his work in bringing this national championship to our region. Good news also is coming out of the EPCC Northwest Library. The campus received the 2018 Library Project of the Year Award presented by the Texas Library Association Library Instructional Roundtable. This award recognized an innovative or creative library instruction initiative. EPCC's project was led by Laura Lee Ambris and Michael Duncan, and was a project that sought to embed library skills into course curriculum. The Online Computer Library Center announced the election results for the Americas Regional Council. Again, librarian Laura Lee Ambris was elected to the Global Council. This is a great opportunity for EPCC to have a voice on the national and international levels. And finally, I'd like to remind the board of some upcoming events. The public is invited to learn about campus transformations at forums that will be held next month. Community forums will be held May 2nd from 3 to 5 at the Rio Grande campus, May 3rd from 10 to 11 at the Mission del Paso campus. We're excited to break ground on the Rio Grande campus, which will take place May 4th at 10 a.m. in the Little Temple. Each board member has been given a personal invitation so that you have that as well. And as a reminder, we'll be celebrating our EPCC Excellence Award winners, our Employees of the Year, and our retirees, Dr. Graham, at the annual recognition dinner scheduled for May the 4th, 2018. It will be held at the Wyndham El Paso Airport starting at 5:30 p.m. with a social hour, followed by dinner and the presentation of awards and recognitions. Please join us for this special event by contacting the Faculty Development Office. And that concludes my report, Chair.
Well, thank you very much. That's a busy April. It's not even over yet.
That's right. Team, all the team.
Section 2.0, Administration. 2.1.1, the following policy is presented for first reading. 4.06.01, Investments Policy. No action is necessary. Section 3.0, Personnel. Item 3.1, Full-time institutionally funded actions.
Move to approve?
Second.
I'm sorry. Any questions? We're ready. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Solis?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
And Mr. Fierro.
Aye.
Item 3.2, full-time externally funded actions. None. Item 3.3, information items. None. Section 4.0, financial services. Item 4.1, financial services. None. Section 5.0, physical facilities. Item 5.1, consideration and deliberation on the approval to award a contract to Rabbit plus Dado Incorporated to remodel a portion of the A building at the Valle Verde campus to create the first-year experience center in an amount not to exceed $101,957,000.
Move to approve?
Second.
Questions? We're ready. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Solis?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
And Mr. Fierro.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 5.2, consideration and deliberation on the approval of the selection of engineering firms for upcoming district-wide projects.
Move to approve?
We have a approve and a second. Any questions? We're ready. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Solis?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye.
Thank you. Section 6, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, consideration and deliberation on the acceptance of an additional grant award from the Texas Workforce Commission for fiscal year 2017-2018 in the amount of $53,841.
Move to approve 6.1 and 7.1.
Second.
Okay. 7.1, consideration and deliberation on the approval of a proposed resolution to request grant funding from the Office of the Texas Governor to purchase 4 police patrol vehicles.
I
Any
have a
questions?
question
Yes.
on 6.1.
6.1.
And my question is, I guess, Mr. Smith, would be, do we have anything that we can get information on how many actual apprenticeships we have currently so that we can be using them as data for future reference? 'Cause I'm gonna keep bringing it up.
Yeah, absolutely. We can certainly provide that information to you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Graham, would you mind if we ask for a breakdown of how many of them are paid and how many of them are free internships, please?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we can break it down that way. Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah. We're ready, thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Solis?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Fierro?
Aye?
Okay. Item 7.2, consideration and deliberation on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve 7.2 and 7.3.
Second.
7.3, consideration and deliberation on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses.
Any questions?
I have a question on page 54 on
7.12?
7.3. And I understand the increases on the courses, but do we have any, or a reason why we're increasing children's classes fees? Or I mean, we don't want to make it so that they can't bring them here because it's too expensive.
Yeah,
These are our future students.
I couldn't agree more, Dr. Graham. And we do try to keep costs reasonable for all constituents, including those participating in the Children's College. Like other areas, though, there are increases in costs associated with some of these. And trust me when I say we price accordingly just to cover the cost for those Children's College courses.
Do we have any kind of scholarships for them? I mean, think of a single parent with 3 kids. They can't even bring them to one class.
Yeah, we have a staff scholarship if they're being used by employees, but otherwise there's no official scholarship for kids in the Children's College.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
We're ready for the question.
Okay. Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Ms. Solis?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty? Mr. Fierro.
You look like it.
Sorry. He's here with us in spirit, right?
He had to get back.
Yeah, thank you. Aye. Before you announce we're going into executive, I just want to make an announcement that our next Facility and Finance Committee meeting will be Wednesday, May 23rd, 4 p.m., followed by a regular board meeting at 5:30.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, sir? In reference to the presentation that we had earlier, another thing that I'd like to find out is how many counselors do we have on staff and versus how many advisors we have? And how many of those counselors are counseling 100% of the time that they're employed, and how many are teaching and handling other duties besides counseling? And I'd also like to know how many students, because we're supposed to be very data-driven. How many students are receiving counseling versus how many are being advised? Because often when I speak to faculty, they're doing a lot of the advising and counseling themselves, which is great. I love it. But I want to see the data on the actual counseling department.
We'll provide a report to the board, Dr. Graham.
Thank
We'll
you,
have
sir.
it for the next meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Graham. I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ladies, thank you so much.